Could you please be quiet for 30 seconds? The sentence should never have been spoken inside the Imperial Crown Hotel's largest penthouse suite, and certainly not to the alpha standing at the center of it. Logan Hayes did not know that yet. After 9 hours of working a private hospitality event on the Las Vegas Strip, the 23-year-old Omega knew only 3 things. His feet hurt, his head was pounding, and someone on the 42nd floor had ordered Earl Grey tea with honey. The service ticket said Suite 4208. Logan stepped out of the elevator, checked the number on his phone, and followed the hallway until he reached what he believed was the correct door. It stood slightly open, probably because hotel staff had been moving between rooms all evening. Logan knocked twice, heard voices inside, and called, "Room service." Nobody answered him. Assuming the guests were expecting the order, he entered. The suite was enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a river of neon lights far below. 4 men in dark suits sat around a polished table. Another stood near the windows with his back to Logan. Nobody looked like someone waiting impatiently for tea. "Excuse me," Logan said. No response. The man near the windows continued speaking in a low, controlled voice. "I asked for one agreement. If they want different terms now, they can bring them to me directly." One of the seated men began answering, louder than necessary. Logan closed his eyes for half a second as another pulse of pressure moved through his temples. "Sir." Still nothing. He needed a signature, confirmation of the order, and preferably 10 seconds without somebody discussing business at full volume. Logan pushed the cart farther inside. The seated men finally noticed him. Their expressions changed immediately. One started to rise. "How did you get in here?" "The door was open," Logan said. "I have an order for Suite 4208. The room became strangely still. The man by the window turned around. Logan registered broad shoulders beneath an expensive charcoal suit, dark hair, and a face composed enough to make everyone else seem nervous by comparison. The stranger looked at Logan, then at the tea service. "This is 4206, he said. Logan checked his phone. He had reversed the final digit while reading the ticket. "Wonderful," Logan muttered. "That explains why nobody wants the tea." One of the men at the table looked horrified by his tone. Logan barely noticed. "Sorry, wrong suite." He reached for the card, but the seated man started speaking again, apparently continuing whatever argument Logan had interrupted. His voice climbed another level. Logan's headache answered immediately. Without thinking, he looked toward the group and said, "Could you please be quiet for 30 seconds? I am trying to make sure I do not deliver somebody's tea to the wrong room twice." Silence fell so completely that Logan could hear the faint hum of the air conditioning. 4 men stared at him. The man nearest the table slowly lowered his gaze, as though witnessing something he preferred not to be associated with. Logan finally sensed that he had broken some invisible rule. He looked at the alpha by the window. Unlike everyone else, the man did not appear offended. If anything, he seemed curious. "What is your name?" he asked. "Logan Hayes." "And you always speak to hotel guests this way, Logan Hayes?" Logan straightened. "Only when I have been awake since 5 in the morning, and they are making it difficult to hear myself think." Someone at the table made a quiet sound that might have been disbelief. The alpha's expression remained unreadable. "You entered the wrong suite." "Yes, sir. That part is absolutely my fault." "And telling everyone in it to be quiet?" Logan considered the question. "I probably could have phrased that better." For the first time, something almost like amusement appeared in the man's eyes. "Probably." Logan pulled the cart toward the door. "Enjoy your meeting." Nobody stopped him. He made it into the hallway, found Suite 4208 2 doors away, delivered the tea, and returned downstairs convinced the embarrassing mistake was finished. He was halfway through explaining it to another server when his supervisor, Rachel Morgan, overheard the suite number. Her face lost its color. "Logan," she said slowly, "who exactly did you tell to be quiet?" Logan shrugged. "Some alpha in a charcoal suit. Damien something, I think." Rachel stared at him. "Damien Cole?" Logan noticed 2 nearby employees suddenly stopped talking. "Maybe." "What?" Rachel lowered her voice. "Because everyone in this hotel knows Damien Cole, and everyone knows you do not walk into his private suite by mistake." Logan looked toward the elevator he had just left. "Apparently," he said, "I do." Logan spent the next 10 minutes waiting for Rachel to explain why everyone suddenly looked as though he had announced that he had insulted the mayor, the governor, and the hotel owner at the same time. Instead, She pulled him toward the service corridor and lowered her voice. Damien Cole has occupied that suite for 6 nights. Management gave us specific instructions. No unapproved staff, no unnecessary interruptions, and absolutely no mistakes involving his floor. Logan rubbed his forehead. Then somebody should probably fix the door that was standing open. Rachel stared at him. That is what you are taking from this. I already admitted I read the room number wrong. Logan, people do not casually argue with Damien Cole. I did not argue with him. I asked everyone to lower their voices. Rachel closed her eyes briefly. That is not better. Over the next hour, Logan learned more than he wanted to know. Damien Cole owned legitimate interests in logistics companies, private clubs, real estate, and several businesses connected to Nevada hospitality. The rumors surrounding the rest of his organization were never discussed loudly. Employees simply knew that influential people treated Damien carefully and that hotel executives personally reviewed every request connected to his stay. Logan listened, then looked toward the elevator. He seemed surprisingly normal. Rachel gave him an exhausted look. Please never say that where management can hear you. Logan finished his shift shortly after midnight and went home expecting a telephone call telling him not to return. None came. At 7 the next morning, however, his phone rang. Rachel's name appeared on the screen. Logan answered cautiously. Am I fired? Not yet. Comforting. Damien Cole requested. Breakfast. Logan sat up. Then send breakfast. Rachel was silent for a moment. He requested you. By 8:15, Logan stood outside Suite 4206 holding a breakfast cart and reconsidering every decision that had brought him there. This time the door was closed. He knocked. A security employee opened it and stepped aside. Damien sat alone at a dining table near the windows, dressed in a white shirt with the sleeves buttoned neatly at his wrists. Morning sunlight made the suite look less intimidating, although Logan suspected that had more to do with the absence of 4 nervous men. Good morning, Logan said. Your breakfast. Damien looked up from a folder. You came back. Apparently refusing a guest request is discouraged in hospitality. Are you afraid of me now? Logan stopped beside the table. It was not the question he expected. Should I be? Damien studied him. Most people think so. Most people apparently know more about you than I do. You know who I am now. I know your name, and that my supervisor nearly stopped breathing when I said it. A faint trace of amusement crossed Damien's face. Logan placed a plate, coffee, and silverware on the table. Anything else? Yes. Damien closed the folder. Are you always that honest? Logan considered lying purely for the irony, then decided against it. Only when people make it difficult not to be. Damien leaned back slightly. Last night you entered my suite without permission, interrupted a private meeting, and told everyone inside to be quiet. I also apologized for entering the wrong room. You did. And technically, I said please. Damien stared at him for one long second. Then, unexpectedly, he laughed. It was quiet and brief, but genuine enough to surprise Logan. You find this funny? Logan asked. I find you unusual. That sounds slightly better than unemployed. Nobody asked for you to be fired. Logan paused. You did not complain? No. Why? Damien picked up his coffee. Because you made a mistake. Then you admitted it. Logan glanced toward the door. That is considerably less dramatic than everything people downstairs told me. Damien's expression cooled, though not toward Logan. People enjoy stories about men they do not understand. Logan thought about that as he adjusted the breakfast cart. Before leaving, he noticed Damien's coffee sitting untouched. You ordered it black? Yes. You look like someone who orders coffee black. Damien raised an eyebrow. What does that mean? Logan smiled despite himself. I have already made enough questionable decisions around you for one morning. He pushed the cart toward the door. Behind him, Damien said, Logan. He turned. Damien's gaze was steady, curious rather than threatening. Tomorrow morning. Same time. Logan blinked. You are requesting me again? Yes. Logan looked at the alpha everyone in the hotel seemed determined to fear. Then tomorrow, he said. As the suite door closed behind him, Damien looked at the untouched folder on the table and realized something that irritated and intrigued him in equal measure. The only person in the entire hotel who had spoken to him normally was the one person who had walked into his world completely by mistake. By the 3rd morning, Logan had stopped expecting Damien Cole to behave like the stories people told downstairs. That did not mean he understood him. At 8:15 exactly, Logan knocked on Suite 4206 with a breakfast cart carrying black coffee, scrambled eggs, wheat toast, and fresh fruit. The security employee outside recognized him now and opened the door without the suspicious stare Logan had received the previous morning. Inside, Damien was standing near the windows with two men Logan recognized from his accidental entrance. The atmosphere changed the moment Logan arrived. One man stopped speaking halfway through a sentence. The other quietly gathered several documents from the table. Logan looked between them. "You know I can come back." "No," Damien said. "We are finished." The men immediately left. Logan watched the door close behind them. "Do your meetings always end that quickly?" Damien returned to the table. "When I say they are finished." Logan began setting out breakfast. "That must save a lot of time." Damien gave him a look that would probably have silenced anyone else in the hotel. Logan placed the coffee beside his right hand. "Still black. Still depressing. You have strong opinions about beverages." "I work in hospitality. Beverages are approximately 30% of my personality." Damien almost smiled. Over the next several days, Logan began noticing the strange orbit surrounding the Alpha. Hotel managers appeared personally whenever Damien requested anything unusual. Security employees checked the hallway before he left the suite. Businessmen who entered speaking confidently often departed much quieter. Nobody interrupted Damien. Nobody corrected him. Nobody seemed willing to say anything that might disappoint him. Logan found the entire ritual exhausting. Damien, however, never demanded it from him. When Logan mentioned that breakfast service ended earlier on Sundays, Damien adjusted his schedule. When Logan explained that a special request would require 20 minutes instead of 10, Damien simply said he would wait. The contrast made Logan increasingly curious. On Friday morning, he arrived carrying coffee and noticed Damien reading beside the window. "No terrifying meeting today?" Logan asked. Damien lowered the newspaper. "Do you usually describe guests as terrifying to their faces?" "Only the ones everyone else describes that way behind their backs." Damien folded the newspaper carefully. "And what do you think?" Logan paused. "I think people act differently when you enter a room." "That was not my question." "I know." Damien waited. Logan sighed. "I think you enjoy making people guess what you were thinking." "Sometimes. And I think you could make everyone less nervous if you smiled occasionally." "That sounds inefficient." Logan laughed. "There it is." Damien's expression softened for barely a second. Then someone knocked. A hotel technician entered after security checked his identification. He wore a gray maintenance uniform and carried a compact tool case. "Routine network inspection," the man explained. Logan moved the breakfast cart aside to give him room. The technician thanked him and walked toward the private office connected to the suite. Logan watched him pass. Something felt wrong. He could not immediately identify what. Then the man reached for the office door, and Logan saw the identification badge clipped to his belt. Blue stripe. Logan's attention sharpened. 3 months earlier, the Imperial Crown had replaced blue-striped contractor badges with green ones after changing its vendor system. Every active technician Logan had seen since then wore green. The man reached for the handle. "Wait," Logan said. Everyone turned toward him. The technician smiled politely. "I will only be a few minutes." Logan looked at his badge again. Then he remembered something else. The man had asked security about the service elevator when he entered. Actual maintenance staff used the employee elevator on the opposite side of the floor. Logan set down the coffee pot. Damien watched him carefully. "Something wrong?" Logan did not answer immediately. He walked closer to Damien and lowered his voice. "Maybe nothing." His eyes remained on the technician. "But do not let that man into your private office." Damien did not ask Logan to explain. His entire expression changed, the faint amusement disappearing beneath perfect calm. He looked towards security and said only, "Check him again." The technician stopped moving. Logan suddenly understood why everyone became quiet when Damien Cole spoke. This time, however, Logan was grateful for it. The security employee stepped between the technician and the private office without raising his voice. "Identification, please." The technician touched the badge at his belt. "You already checked me outside." "Check it again," Damien said. That ended the discussion. A second security employee entered from the hallway while the first examined the badge and made a quiet telephone call to hotel operations. Logan remained beside the breakfast cart, suddenly wishing he had been wrong. 30 seconds later, the answer came. "The contractor number is inactive. Security said. Hotel operations has no network inspection scheduled for this suite. The technician's expression changed, but nobody moved toward him aggressively. Security simply asked him to place the tool case on the floor and accompany them downstairs while hotel management verified his identity. Damien watched until the suite door closed. Then he looked at Logan. How did you know? Logan released the breath he had been holding. I did not know. I noticed his badge. What about it? Blue stripe. The hotel stopped using those 3 months ago. Current contractors have green stripes. Damien glanced toward the door. Security missed that. Security does not spend 9 hours a day looking at employee badges while carrying trays through service hallways. What else? Logan hesitated. He asked about the service elevator. Maintenance staff use the employee elevator on the east side because it connects directly to engineering. Also, he called the private office the network room when he spoke to your security employee. The hotel does not use that term. Damien studied him with a concentration that made Logan unexpectedly uncomfortable. You noticed all of that in less than a minute. Logan shrugged. Hospitality is mostly noticing things before guests have to. You make that sound ordinary. It is ordinary. Damien walked toward the windows, then stopped. Not to everyone. 15 minutes later, the hotel manager arrived personally and apologized several times. The technician was not part of any approved vendor team, and his access badge had apparently been copied from an expired credential. Management promised a full review of floor access procedures. Damien listened without interrupting. Logan expected anger. Instead, Damien asked precise questions about how the man had reached the 42nd floor, who had approved his elevator access, and whether any other guests might have been affected. His voice never rose. Somehow, that made everyone answer faster. When the manager finally left, Logan began collecting the breakfast dishes. You are surprisingly calm about this. Damien looked at him. Would shouting improve the situation? No. Then why waste the energy? Logan considered that. That is annoyingly reasonable. I have been accused of worse. Logan smiled, but Damien remained serious. You prevented someone with false credentials from entering a private office. I pointed out a badge. You trusted your judgment when everyone else had already accepted him. Because something looked wrong. Damien stepped closer, stopping several feet away. Most people notice something wrong and wait for someone more important to speak first. Logan thought about the suite on his first night, for men falling silent because Damien had turned around. Maybe that is because you have trained everyone around you to wait. Damien's eyebrows lifted. Logan immediately wondered whether honesty had finally gone too far. Then Damien asked, And you? I work for the hotel, not for you. A quiet laugh escaped Damien. That explains more than you realize. Logan pushed the cart toward the door. I should get back downstairs. Logan. He turned. Damien's expression had changed. The curiosity was still there, but now something heavier accompanied it. Respect. From now on, if you notice anything unusual on this floor, you tell me directly. Logan shook his head. I tell hotel security first. Then, if it concerns you, they can tell you. Damien stared at him for a moment. You are correcting me again. Occupational hazard. This time Damien smiled openly. Logan left the suite feeling strangely pleased with himself. He did not see Damien pick up his phone moments later, nor did he hear the quiet instruction that followed. Find out how that man entered the hotel, Damien said. Then he paused, looking toward the door Logan had just closed. And make sure Logan Hayes is kept completely out of it. By Friday afternoon, Logan had almost convinced himself that the incident with the false technician was finished. Hotel security had changed access procedures for the 42nd floor. Management had held 2 emergency meetings, and Rachel had personally reminded every employee to verify contractor badges before granting access to restricted areas. Logan returned to his ordinary schedule of room service requests, event setups, and guests who somehow believed asking for extra towels qualified as an emergency. Then, shortly after 6, Rachel appeared beside the service station carrying an expression Logan had learned not to ignore. Management wants to speak with you. Logan looked up from a tray of sparkling water. About what? The man from Suite 4206. Logan immediately thought of Damien. What did he do? Not him. The technician. 10 minutes later, Logan sat across from the hotel operations director and 2 security supervisors. They asked him to describe the stranger again. Logan repeated everything he remembered, approximate height, gray uniform, blue striped badge, compact tool case, careful voice, and the question about the service elevator. One supervisor exchanged a glance with the other. You are certain he asked specifically about that elevator? Yes. Could you recognize him again? Logan hesitated. Probably. The operations director folded his hands. Until we complete our review, we would prefer that you not discuss this with anyone outside management. Logan nodded. Fine. But when he left the office, uneasiness followed him. This no longer felt like a simple case of someone using an outdated credential. At 7:20, Logan entered the employee hallway and noticed Damien standing near the private elevator with one security employee. Damien rarely appeared outside the penthouse without several people nearby. Logan stopped. Are you leaving? Damien looked at him. For dinner. That sounds almost normal. I occasionally participate in normal activities. Logan smiled, but Damien did not. Management questioned you. It was not really a question. Logan frowned. How do you know? Because they contacted my security team afterward. They asked whether I could recognize the technician. Damien's expression hardened slightly. What did you tell them? That I probably could. A pause followed. Logan, I want you away from anything connected to this. Logan stared at him. That is interesting. What is? You saying what you want as if that automatically decides what I do. Damien's security employee suddenly became fascinated by the opposite wall. Damien lowered his voice. This situation may be more complicated than hotel management originally believed. Then tell me what is happening. I cannot. Then you cannot expect me to follow instructions without understanding them. Damien's jaw tightened, but his voice remained controlled. You noticed someone who should not have been here. That made you relevant to. People I would prefer never knew your name. Logan felt the seriousness beneath the words, but he refused to let fear make the decision for him. I am already cooperating with hotel security. That may not be enough. Then what are you suggesting? Damien answered immediately. Stay upstairs tonight. My security can arrange everything. Logan blinked. In your suite. There are several guest rooms. No. Damien looked genuinely surprised. No. I have a shift until midnight, an apartment 10 minutes from here, and a life that does not suddenly move into your penthouse because you are worried. This is not about convenience. I know. It is about you deciding what is safest for me without asking what I want. The words hung between them. Damien could have argued. Everyone around him seemed accustomed to accepting his decisions without question. Instead, he became very quiet. What would you want? He asked finally. Logan had not expected that. Information. Options. Then I decide. Damien studied him for several seconds before nodding. All right. He took a card from his pocket and handed it over. A telephone number was printed beneath a security company name. This reaches my security coordinator directly. Keep it tonight. You do not have to call. Logan accepted the card. That is better. You are remarkably difficult to protect. Maybe because I did not ask you to protect me. For the first time since the conversation began, Damien almost smiled. Point taken. Logan returned to work carrying the card in his pocket. Behind him, Damien watched until the service door closed, then turned to his security employee. No one follows him. No one interferes with his shift. The man nodded. Damien added, but if he calls that number, answer before the second ring. Logan finished his shift at 12:06 in the morning and walked through the employee exit with Damien's security card still in his pocket. Nothing happened. No suspicious car waited outside. Nobody followed him, and his 10-minute drive home was as ordinary as any other Friday night in Las Vegas. By Saturday morning, Logan felt slightly ridiculous for having checked his rearview mirror so often. At noon, Rachel called with unexpected news. Management is giving you 3 paid days off. Logan sat at his kitchen counter. Why? Precaution. Security confirmed the false technician was specifically trying to access the private office in Suite 4206. They are still investigating how he obtained the expired credential. Logan's uneasiness returned. Did Damien arrange this? No. The hotel did. You are an employee who witnessed a security breach, and management wants you away from the property until the review is complete. That distinction mattered. All right. Rachel hesitated. There is one more thing. Security has 3 options for you. You can stay home, transfer temporarily to our sister property in Henderson, or use a room there for the next few nights if you would rather not be alone at your apartment. Logan almost laughed. Did everyone suddenly decide I need a vacation? Think of it as management discovering liability paperwork. That sounds more believable. Logan chose to stay home. An hour later, he took Damien's card from his jacket and placed it beside his phone. He did not call. Sunday passed quietly. On Monday afternoon, hotel security contacted him with an update. The man had apparently used copied access information connected to an outside contractor, but there was no indication that Logan himself had been targeted. The investigation would continue, and employees had been instructed not to discuss details publicly. Logan thanked them and finally relaxed. That evening, his phone rang from an unfamiliar number. "Logan Hayes?" a calm voice asked. "Yes. This is Aaron Blake, Mr. Cole's security coordinator. Mr. Cole asked me to confirm that hotel management had contacted you." Logan looked at the card on his counter. "He asked you to call me?" "Only after hotel security confirmed there was no immediate concern involving you personally." Logan noticed the wording. Damien had waited. He had not sent anyone to Logan's apartment. He had not ordered security to follow him. He had done exactly what Logan requested. "Tell him I am fine." Aaron paused. "You can tell him yourself if you prefer. Is he there?" A moment later, Damien's voice replaced Aaron's. "You chose to stay home." Logan smiled despite himself. "Apparently you have sources. Hotel management told my security team which option you selected because the incident involved my suite. And you did not send anyone here. You told me not to." The answer was immediate. Logan leaned against the counter. "I thought that might be difficult for you." "It was." Logan laughed. "At least you admit it." Damien was quiet for a moment. "I am accustomed to solving problems by controlling variables. You made it clear that you are not one of my variables." Something about the sentence caught Logan off guard. "That might be the nicest thing you have said to me." "That is concerning. Your standards need work." Damien's quiet laugh came through the phone. Then his tone became serious again. "Hotel security believes you are not in danger. My team agrees. If anything changes, they will inform management immediately. Thank you for telling me. You deserved information, not instructions." Logan looked at the card again. The feared alpha mafia boss everyone described had possessed the resources to surround Logan with security without asking. Instead, he had done nothing because Logan had said no. "I go back Tuesday," Logan said. "I know. Breakfast at 8:15? There was a brief pause. "Are you asking whether I want breakfast or whether I want you to bring it?" "Both." Damien answered more softly. "Yes." Tuesday morning, Logan returned to the Imperial Crown. The 42nd floor had new access scanners, updated contractor procedures, and twice as many security checks. When Logan entered Suite 4206 with black coffee and breakfast, Damien was alone beside the windows. "You changed the whole floor," Logan said. "The hotel changed the floor. You encouraged them." "Strongly." Logan placed the coffee down. "Still controlling variables?" Damien met his eyes. "Only the ones that belong to me." Logan smiled. "Good answer." Damien looked almost pleased. For the first time, Logan understood that trust between them was not growing because Damien could protect him. It was growing because Damien was learning when not to. For the next 4 days, life at the Imperial Crown slowly returned to normal, but Logan noticed that normal meant something different now. Contractors were checked twice before reaching guest floors. Employees carried newly issued badges, and the private elevator required an additional access code after 10 at night. Logan continued delivering Damien's breakfast at 8:15, although neither man acknowledged that the routine had become something they both expected. On Friday morning, Damien was standing beside the windows when Logan entered with black coffee and toast. "You know," Logan said, "there are other people in room service. I have been informed. Some of them are considerably more polite." "That sounds inconvenient." Logan smiled as he poured the coffee. "You are getting better at jokes. Do not tell anyone." Before Logan could answer, Rachel called his work phone. "I need you downstairs when you finish," she said. Her voice sounded serious. "Hotel security has another update." 20 minutes later, Logan sat in the same management office where he had previously described the false technician. This time, the operations director looked less worried. "We identified how the copied credential entered the system," she explained. "An outside vendor account had not been properly deactivated. That access has been closed, and the hotel has completed a full audit." Logan relaxed slightly. "So this is over?" "For you, yes. There is no evidence anyone was interested in you personally." The security supervisor nodded. Your involvement began and ended because you noticed something unusual. We appreciate what you did. Logan left the office feeling as though a weight had finally lifted. When he returned to the 42nd floor later that afternoon with a guest order, Damien was leaving the suite with Aaron Blake. Logan stopped beside the elevator. Management says I am officially boring again. Damien's gaze moved to him. You were never boring. That sounded dangerously close to a compliment. Aaron looked away, clearly hiding amusement. Damien ignored him. They told you the review is complete? For anything involving me, yes. Damien nodded. Good. Logan expected him to say more. Instead, he stepped toward the elevator. Logan frowned. That is it. Damien paused. What were you expecting? I do not know. Maybe one of your mysterious warnings. You said you wanted information and choices. You have both. There is nothing left for me to decide. Logan stared at him for a second, then smiled. You really were listening. Damien's expression softened. I usually listen when something matters. The elevator arrived. Aaron stepped inside, but Damien remained in the hallway. I will be leaving the Imperial Crown Monday morning, he said. Logan felt an unexpected disappointment. Your business here is finished? Most of it. So no more depressing black coffee at 8:15. Apparently not. The elevator doors waited open behind him. Damien glanced toward Aaron, then back at Logan. For a man who could make an entire room wait for his decision, he suddenly seemed strangely reluctant to make one. Logan, I would like to see you after I leave the hotel. Logan blinked. You mean hire me somewhere else? No. Damien almost smiled. I mean dinner. The hallway became very quiet. Logan had imagined Damien giving orders, making arrangements, or simply assuming Logan would agree. Instead, he was waiting. Are you asking me? Logan said. Yes. Not telling me where to be. I am attempting personal growth. Logan laughed. That must be exhausting. More than you realize. Logan considered him. The first night they met, Damien had been surrounded by people who feared disappointing him. Now he stood alone in a hotel hallway asking an Omega room service employee a question he could freely refuse. That difference mattered. Sunday, Logan said. 7 o'clock. Somewhere without security standing 10 feet away. Aaron cleared his throat inside the elevator. Damien glanced at him. 20 feet. Logan laughed again. We will negotiate. Damien stepped into the elevator. Just before the doors closed, Logan added, and I choose the restaurant. Damien's expression carried unmistakable amusement. Of course you do. The door slid shut. Logan stood alone in the hallway smiling, realizing that somewhere between the wrong suite and the wrong badge, the alpha everyone feared had learned something nobody around him had dared to teach him. Asking could be far more powerful than commanding. Sunday evening, Logan arrived at a small Italian restaurant several blocks away from the Strip at exactly 7. He had chosen it because it was quiet, locally owned, and unlikely to have a private entrance designed for people like Damien Cole. Damien was already waiting near the back of the dining room in a dark jacket without a tie, looking almost ordinary until Logan noticed Aaron seated discreetly at a table nearly 20 feet away. Logan stopped beside Damien. You actually listened. Damien glanced toward Aaron. 21 feet, according to him. Progress. Damien pulled out the chair across from him, but waited until Logan sat before taking his own seat. For the first few minutes, conversation felt strangely difficult. At the hotel, Logan always had a breakfast cart, a work schedule, or Damien's terrible coffee choices to hide behind. Here, there was only a table, 2 menus, and the realization that neither of them had accidentally ended up in the same room. So, Logan said, what does Damien Cole talk about when nobody is interrupting a meeting or pretending to repair his network? Damien considered the question. Apparently, I need practice with that. Logan laughed, and the tension eased. Over dinner, he learned things the hotel roomers had never mentioned. Damien grew up in Nevada, preferred old detective novels to television, disliked crowded parties, and had developed the habit of drinking black coffee because his father had done the same. Logan told him about moving to Las Vegas 2 years earlier, his plans to become a guest services manager, and his belief that every luxury hotel secretly depended on 3 exhausted employees who knew where everything was. Damien listened without checking his phone once. When dessert arrived, Logan noticed something else. Damien never asked him for information about the security incident. He never tried to pull Logan into conversations about his business. Whatever world existed beyond the legitimate companies attached to Damien's name remained deliberately outside the restaurant. Logan appreciated that boundary more than he expected. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Yes." "Why did you keep requesting me for breakfast?" Damien looked almost amused. "You want the polite answer?" "Absolutely not. Because everyone around me spends too much time trying to predict what I want to hear." Logan waited. "And I do not. You told me my coffee was depressing." "It is." "Exactly." Damien's smile appeared slowly. "You treated me like a difficult hotel guest before you knew my name. And after you learned it, you still treated me like a difficult hotel guest." Logan smiled. "Consistency is important in hospitality. So I have learned." They left shortly after 9. Outside, warm desert air replaced the restaurant's cool air conditioning, and traffic moved steadily along the avenue. Aaron remained far enough away to give them privacy. Damien stopped near the curb. "Thank you for choosing dinner." Logan raised an eyebrow. "That sounded formal. I am trying not to assume there will be another." Logan studied him. Weeks earlier, this alpha had tried to solve Logan's safety by deciding where he should stay. Now he was deliberately leaving even the smallest next step in Logan's hands. "There can be another," Logan said. Damien's expression softened. "When you are already becoming demanding again." "I asked one question, and somehow it sounded like a contract negotiation." Damien laughed quietly. Logan smiled. "Next Friday. I will choose again." "Agreed." Logan turned toward the rideshare pickup area, then stopped. "Damien." "Yes." "At the hotel, everyone acts like the frightening part about you is how much control you have." Damien's expression became unreadable. Logan continued. "I think they are wrong." "What do you think it is?" Logan considered the man standing before him, powerful enough to arrange almost anything and disciplined enough to accept when the answer was no. "The interesting part is that you are finally learning when to give it up." For several seconds, Damien said nothing. Then he smiled, not the faint expression Logan occasionally earned in the suite, but something warmer and completely unguarded. "Good night, Logan." Logan walked away smiling. Behind him, Damien remained beside the curb, watching only until Logan safely entered his ride. Then, for once, he let him go without giving a single instruction. 3 months later, Logan stood behind the guest services desk at the Imperial Crown, wearing a new name badge with 2 words beneath his name, Assistant Manager. The promotion had come after weeks of training, interviews, and performance reviews that had nothing to do with Damien Cole. Rachel had been the first person to congratulate him, followed by half the hospitality staff who remembered the night Logan accidentally entered the wrong suite. The story had become safer with time, reduced to an inside joke about Logan's unusual talent for surviving awkward introductions. The security incident was finished. Procedures had changed, the old contractor system had been replaced, and Logan's life had returned to something comfortably ordinary. Damien had left Suite 4206 as planned, but he had not disappeared from Logan's life. Their second dinner became a third. Then came quiet breakfasts away from the strip, weekend drives outside the city, bookstores where Damien somehow spent 40 minutes choosing one novel, and evenings when Logan discovered that the alpha everyone feared could spend 10 minutes debating which takeout restaurant had the best garlic bread. Damien never discussed business Logan did not need to know. Logan never pretended the rumors surrounding him did not exist. They simply built their relationship inside boundaries both understood. On a warm Friday evening, Logan finished his shift and discovered a familiar figure waiting near the lobby windows. Damien wore a charcoal suit, although he looked considerably less intimidating while holding 2 paper cups. "Please tell me that is not black coffee," Logan said. Damien handed him 1 cup. "Hot chocolate." Logan accepted it suspiciously. "You remembered. I occasionally pay attention." "Occasionally?" Damien smiled. "Frequently." Logan glanced toward the elevators. "Why are you here?" "Dinner reservation." "You made the reservation?" "Yes." "Without telling me where?" "I was attempting a surprise." Logan narrowed his eyes. Damien sighed. "Italian. 7:30. Outdoor table. You mentioned wanting to try it 2 weeks ago." "Acceptable." They started toward the lobby doors, but Logan stopped when his work phone rang. A guest services employee needed help resolving a reservation problem upstairs. Logan looked apologetically at Damien. "Give me 10 minutes. "Take 20. "You are not going to complain about the reservation?" "I can move it." Logan smiled. Look at you, adapting to variables. Damien gave him a patient look. Logan hurried upstairs, solved the issue, and returned 18 minutes later. Damien was still waiting exactly where he had left him, reading something on his phone. Logan approached quietly. You know, for a terrifying alpha, you are surprisingly good at waiting. Damien put the phone away. You have given me practice. Logan laughed. They walked outside together into the warm Las Vegas evening. Neon signs were beginning to glow along the strip, and traffic moved beneath a fading orange sky. Halfway to the car, Damien stopped. Logan. Something in his voice made Logan turn. Damien looked unusually serious. The first night we met, everyone in that room was waiting for me to decide what happened next. Logan smiled at the memory, and I was waiting for somebody to stop talking. Damien laughed softly. You walked into the wrong room, ignored every rule people had built around me, and reminded me that being respected is not the same as being feared. Logan's smile faded into something warmer. Damien continued. You also taught me that caring about someone does not give me the right to make choices for them. Logan looked at him for a moment. That lesson took a little work. You were persistent. Occupational hazard. Damien held out his hand, not taking Logan's, simply offering. Logan looked down at it and understood the gesture immediately. Even now, Damien was asking. Logan placed his hand in Damien's. Still learning? He asked. Every day. They continued toward the car. Logan glanced at him. One more thing. What? You are thinking too loudly again. Damien stopped, then laughed, open and unguarded, the sound carrying into the warm evening. Logan smiled and squeezed his hand. Months ago, he had walked into a stranger's suite and demanded 30 seconds of quiet. Now he understood that the silence between them had never been empty. It had become the place where fear gave way to trust, control gave way to choice, and two people who should never have met learned how to listen.